Hi.
Congratulations on the craft legacy. I really enjoyed your characters, and I thought it was fascinating how we were just kind of thrown into this new relationship and family unit along with Lily. So I'm wondering if you can both discuss kind of how did your characters meet, what was your relationship before you joined the households?
Well, Michelle and I, we got to meet before we would work, so it was important for us to do that because it's a kind of a shorthand, you don't have, there's not much of that relationship in the movie, but you have to believe it as being serious enough so that she would move in with her daughter. So Michelle and I talked about, we had to get comfortable with one another, which we did quite quickly. And we had to talk about how do we shorthand that kind of ease or that the kind of depth of the relationship. So it doesn't just seem like, wow, that's weird that they're moving in together. So I don't know that we talked about anything specific about backstory, but we did talk about trying to have the feel of a backstory anyway.
Michelle, for you, I know that Lily and Hannah had a really close bond because they didn't have anyone else. It was just the two of them. So how do you think that shaped their relationship? And then, of course, how that was changed when you moved into the household?
Well, I think, that's what's really special about their relationship is that they are really connected and close and tight-knit, and they've really had to lean on each other. And I think what Helen's struggle is how do you maintain that, that supportive relationship while at the same time kind of pursuing a romance and really feeling like you're entitled to that and you need that. And I think that's tricky territory, especially as a young person who's going through adolescence and the expectations that they have by having to go to a new school and all of the things and the sacrifices you're asking them to make for your own sort of happiness. And so I think that they're really trying to find what that new balance is for themselves.
David, Adam obviously has a lot of more layers than one would have expected when we first see him. And he's just dad of the year. So what was it that drew you to the role, and how do you, contain those multitudes as an actor?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was what drew me to the role was this idea that, this guy could seem like, in a way that like what we refer to as toxic masculinity or whatever is very like in the same ballpark as that Leave It to Beaver kind of dad figure. And that was kind of fun for me to realize and then to kind of play with how it's not an about face. It's like part of the same thing. So I tried to kind of play in that area, I guess.
I think it's, a good lesson for
you
Helen.
Humanize them.
Yeah. And then
but also we had to do that. I mean, I think, to talk about, to expound on what Michelle was saying, if Adam was such like an obvious kind of jerk, then that would reflect poorly on Michelle's character and as a mom, and then like the whole thing starts to fall apart. So I felt like we had to be very careful, even though we didn't have a lot of time in the relationship, to make sure that it was somewhat understandable on some level, so that this woman would take her child and put him in this house, so it was tricky.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I love that each of you have your own kind of catchphrase about power, right? There's your difference is your power for Helen, and then for Adam, it's order is power. So for you personally in your lives, what is power?
Oh, gosh. Wow. It's interesting. Like, I don't really relate to the word power in my life. I definitely relate to the word of being empowered, right? I don't really look at the word power as something that I necessarily identify with. I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of a power trip when I'm trying to get my kids to bed, but that's a different thing. But I definitely feel like, empowerment is very much a part of all of our lives. And I would say, for me, like feeling empowered is being able to advocate for myself, right? To be honest with myself. It's one of those things too that I'm trying to instill in my own daughter and my own son, is to honor those instincts, whatever they are, and to advocate for yourself as well as others. So that's kind of what empowerment means to me, a play on power, I suppose. But I guess power is taking ownership of that for yourself and what you can do with it. Right?
Yeah, for me, I think it's presence, just the ability to be present, which also means the ability to change, so to me, that's as I fucking space out. That presence, as I am not present at all in that moment. That's an example of lack of power.
No, but I really relate to that, because I think you're right. I think that's one of the biggest struggles nowadays, is really truly to stay present, to be in the moment. And one of the things that Zoe did on almost maybe a daily basis, I don't know, is when she directed the film, is that she requested everybody take a minute and breathe, do a couple of like little breathing, take 3 breaths, everybody take 3 breaths. And that is, there's power in that, right? I think that's a really good point, David. It's like, how do we turn our brains off for a little bit and just kind of listen to ourselves as opposed to all the noise out there. So
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a good one, both of you.
So, wow, you're so cool. You can space out and still
space out and be present.
That shit's powerful.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. I loved your performances. Have a great day.
Bye.